What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having an amazing day today because we are going to be doing our contouring video. And this is not just any contouring video. So if you are a beginner, this is going to make things so much easier for you. You're going to know the how and why and where and all of that, and you're going to be looking like you've been doing your contouring for years at the end of it. I promise you. But if you're not a beginner and you already know how to contour, I have tips and tricks in here for everyone. So this is going to amp up your contouring game and put it on point, girl. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Welcome back, you guys, and if you're new here, my name is Alexandra, aka the Not So Evil Stepmother, and as I said, today we are doing contouring, and this is not just any contouring video, but before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so because I would hate for you to miss out on all the fun we have. Plus, I have an amazing group of subscribers. I love you guys. So anyways, the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is why we contour, because I feel like that is so important. If you don't know why you're doing something, then you're just kind of slapping products on your face without a purpose. But when you do know why you're doing something, then you have guidelines to kind of follow and you know if you're doing it right or wrong, and you can kind of go from there. So the reason why we contour is because we want to create definition, dimension. You find the angles of your face because it's all about angles. It's all about shapes and angles. That's really what contouring really comes down to. And when I learned that, it made contouring so much easier for me. Contouring is also about hiding flaws and highlighting other areas or making them seem bigger than they appear by catching the light and highlighting them. So that's really important as well. Like, let's say maybe you want those Angelina Jolie lips, but you don't want to go get Botox injections. Well, you can do that by contouring and highlighting. Same thing is if you have like a 5 head instead of a 4 head, you can make your forehead seem smaller by contouring. So the first thing we want to do before we even start contouring is you want to figure out your face shape. This is so important. So I'm going to put this up for you guys, and basically what it's going to do is I want you guys to basically look in the mirror and look at the shape of your face. And keep in mind your hairline because that really plays a big part of it, especially like let's say if you have a heart face shape. Okay, now again, why this is so important is because if you look at your own face, the goal to get is an oval face shape. So you're contouring around your face, okay? So anything outside that oval, you're contouring, and basically anything inside that oval, you are highlighting. Now, of course, this is the exception, your nose, your lips, that kind of thing. But I'm saying your general face area, you're trying to contour it into an oval shape. So one really big tip I can give anybody who is a beginner out there is to take a picture of your face before you start contouring and then take a picture after, because contouring is kind of like watching your child grow up. It's like one day they're a cute little baby and they're all helpless, and the next day they're like 13 years old and they're smarting off and asking for a cell phone. So contouring is kind of the same thing. Like, you don't really see it happening necessarily always as it's happening unless you're really going for that extra contour, but it's there and you can see it especially in pictures and that kind of thing. So go in a room, take a picture of your face before you get started, use a flash, find some really good lighting, and then take a picture after in the same lighting, the same area, that kind of thing. So that way you can kind of see, okay, I need to do a little bit more here, a little less there, that kind of thing, and that will really help you amp up your contour game. All right, guys, now that we got our hair pulled back out of the way, headbands on, we got our eye makeup done, under eye, we got our foundation on, all that kind of stuff, because we want to create a nice, clean canvas to work with, okay? It's just like when you're painting, you don't already paint on a canvas that's been painted on, so make sure you smooth out your canvas, okay? Then we are going to grab our concealer. So for this video, I am using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer, which I am loving and I will tell you guys about in another video. But we're gonna start highlighting. So basically it's the same thing with clothes, right? So when you have whites on, it makes things look bigger. When you have darks, browns, blacks, it makes things look smaller. Same thing when you're contouring, okay? So we're gonna start under our eye. Now your eye has a lip. You're gonna go below that lip, okay? So below the lip, not all the way to your nose. So below the lip, I say right about where your iris starts. And then you're gonna bring it all the way out. Now, depending on how far out you go is depending on how high you want your cheeks to look, basically, okay? Then you're gonna go down and then back up. So basically, you are going around the apple of your cheek, okay? So same thing here. And again, it really depends on how high you want your cheeks to look. Now, you don't have to completely fill this in with concealer. It is so unnecessary and I feel like a waste of product. I really hate when I see people do that on videos. Okay, another thing is if you're hormonal or you have dark places around your nose, you can go ahead and do those areas. Okay, a little bit goes a long way. All right, then you want to bring your chin forward. So a little bit on your chin. If you want that pouty look, do the top of your Cupid's bow, okay? So for our forehead contour, basically keep in mind this, where your eyebrow starts to arch, that's the area you want to stay in between. Now, I know I haven't had my eyebrows done, so it's hard to tell, but basically my eyebrows start to arch right here. So this is the area we want to stay in between. All right, so it's kind of like a little football goal here we're making. Then I always bring mine kind of down, like a little triangle here in between my eyebrows. And then you want to go up a little bit. Now again, this is depending on how big or small you want your forehead to look. All right, now with your nose contour, you want to bring a straight line. And I mean, try to keep this as straight as possible. Straight down the center of your nose. Now, I don't go all the way to my tip, and I also do a little bit right here because I have these like little dips in my nose where this douchebag broke my nose back in the day. We're not gonna talk about that right now. I also do a little bit here on the edges of my face, or lips, I'm sorry, face, lips, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is I would grab a beauty blender and we're gonna pat all of this out, okay? So when you are tapping this out, you want to use tapping, pressing motions to blend it out, okay? Do not pull, tap, 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 okay? All right. We have our highlight done and everything blended out the way that we want it and how we like it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in with our contour. Now, I highly, highly, highly suggest, especially if you are a beginner, that you use a cream contour. You can go in and set it with a powder. It will look the same as using a powder contour, but I highly, highly suggest that you use a cream contour. Okay, so I am going to use the Hula Quickie contour stick. If you do get this, be careful when you open it because it does break, and yeah, so just tidbit up out there. But you don't have to get the Hula Quickie contour stick. You can also get the Fit Me Matte foundation stick. It works just as well. It actually used to be like my go-to for a long time before I got this. So just to throw that out there to you guys. Okay, so when you are contouring, it's same thing. So you're going around your forehead, and my hairline is kind of funky. So This one doesn't have to be as perfect, but same thing, you want to stay in between those lines, okay? Now you can bring it down a little bit further. I have a small forehead already, so I don't really need to do that. And I usually bring it down to my temples here, okay? And then I do a little bit right here under my lip, again, to give that pouty lip appearance, okay? All right, so the next thing I do is I go down and around my chin here and jawline, and that kind of like cuts that. Okay, so you're gonna stop at your chin, and then you can bring it up a little bit like that to give that very defined chin line, okay? So when we're doing this side here, so you can do the sucked in face motion if you're just doing yourself, but another really good thing to do is basically think about it like this. You're going from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth, okay? So you're not taking your contour there, but there's an imaginary line, an imaginary angle going from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth, okay? So that's where your contour line is gonna start, is right there, okay? Right there. So see, you can kind of see where I pressed in with the thing. So that's where we want to start our contour line, is right there. And you are bringing it straight down to your mouth, okay? Now, until you get the hang of it, if you need to do what I just did and create a little mark with a brush, go right ahead, feel free, okay? That way you can make sure it's even. So same thing, top of our ear here, corner of our mouth, all right? So that's our line right there. And you want it to taper. So the fattest area is going to be up here. The thinnest area is going to be there. And then you want to stop your contour line right where your pupils are. Okay, so that's where your contour line is going to start and stop, right there. All right, so with your nose contour, if you guys, it's really hard to draw a line, sometimes a straight line down your nose. So I'm going to give you a really little trick here. You can take a fork and hold it up and basically use a brush and contour on these last two little spokes right there, okay? And that will give you those perfect straight lines. I also highly suggest, until you get the hang of it, that you use a brush, okay? Make sure you use a synthetic brush because we're working with cream products now, okay? And I like to do a little right here. Right? And that kind of gives me like a starting point. Now again, depending on what you want, if you want, you know, your nose to look wider or thinner, is going to be how close together these two lines are. And I'm just using a little angled flat brush here, and I'm just putting it right on there, and as you can see, and it really helps create those straight lines. Now my nose is a little crooked, so my line is not completely straight all the way all the time, but you guys get the gist, okay? The other thing you can do if you want to get that button nose is contour on the bottom of your nose here. Also, if you have flared nostrils, you can, again, contour on your nostrils, that kind of thing. you know, the sky's the limits really, you guys. The other thing is if you want your neck to seem thinner, you can contour down here. All right, so just play around with it, see what you like, what you don't like, what works best for you. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, of course, is we are gonna beauty blend it out. Same thing, patting motions. Tapping, patting, we don't wanna move the product. We just want to blend it out. And when you're doing your cheek blending, always pat up, like pat, pat, pat. We're not pushing, we're still patting, but go up, okay? And the same thing with this contour up here. Make sure you pat up into your hairline. This is why you want to have some kind of headband or something on. Your hair out of your way. I just started doing this and I forgot I was gonna tell you guys about this, so let me blend the rest of this out. So sometimes beauty blending your nose contour, it can mess everything up. So if you want very, very defined contour lines, get an angled, nice fluffy brush like this, a little mini angled brush, and just blend it with that. It makes your nose contour look so much cleaner and sharper and more defined. I just was getting in a hurry and forgot that I was gonna tell you guys this little trick. So yeah, if I'm going out and I really want my nose contour to be on point, this is what I do right here. But if I'm in a hurry, then I do what I just did, so. All right, there we have it. So that is our contour. Now you can go in with your blush, your highlight, all that kind of thing. See how when I turn my face now, you can see those sharp angles. All right, you guys, so I've got a few last little tips or tricks for you on how to really amp up your contour game and or save yourself some headaches in the future. So the first thing is, let's say you blended out your contour and you feel like you blended it out too far down, or it's not defined enough, or you made a mistake. I highly, highly suggest getting a banana powder to fix those kind of mistakes, and also getting a sponge like this. This one from Morphe is very inexpensive. I think it's like $5 or $6 at Ulta, but having this little defined line here, you can just go into that banana powder and cut out your contour to create those really edge defined lines or to fix mistakes. You can go in with a brush with it. You can also use it to really brighten your under eye area or your chin, your forehead, that kind of thing. So banana powder. Another thing you can always do to brighten that under eye area or any other areas is to actually just use a brightener or brightening powder. I really like this one from Cover FX that we got in that palette from BoxyCharm. It has actually been amazing, you guys. So just throwing that out there to you. Another thing, if you feel like your contour lines are not dark enough or definitive enough and you just really, really want to be extra with it, you can always go in and set your contour with contour powder. So those other contour powders that you have, yes, you can put them to use and actually use them to set your contour lines. So there's that trick for you. Another thing is when you are, again, putting on, whether it's a setting powder, a contour powder, finishing powder, whatever, make sure you are using tapping, pressing motions, even if you're using a brush. Tapping motions, because otherwise you're just going to sweep all of those products off of your face, and all that hard work you just did is going to wipe right back off. Another thing you can do is, of course, use a setting spray, which kind of helps everything really melt together, and I absolutely love. And last but not least, if you're really having major problems with a beauty sponge and you feel like as you're putting the product on and you're buffing it out, tapping it out, and blending, that you're just pulling product right back off of your face, I would suggest taking a setting spray and spraying your beauty sponge, then going into your foundation or contour, highlighter, whatever it is that you're doing. I have found that this works extremely well. It keeps product from really soaking into your sponge too much. It also keeps product from pulling off of your face. I have been doing this a lot here lately, and it has been a lifesaver for me. So this is actually one of the many things I want to share with you guys on a beauty hacks video, but it works for this contouring video. So there's that for you guys. I really hope this helps everybody. If you have any questions at all, feel free to comment below. You guys know I love answering your questions. If you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so, because I've got all kinds more fun videos coming up for you guys, and tips and tricks and things like that. And we've got some new unboxings coming up, so you don't want to miss out any of those. And I love you guys so much, and I again really hope you all enjoyed this. Bye.